Listen, we must discuss boxing news, ladies and gentlemen. Bomac, we all know the trainer of Terence Bud Crawford. Listen, if you've been living under a rock, Terence Bud Crawford is the truth and a half. We ain't taking nothing away from him. 40-0, no losses, no draws, 31 wins by the way of knockout. The Southpaw, you already know, there's a lot of speculation on who he might fight next. Obviously, Canelo, it seemed like the ship has sailed. What was going on with the truth, but I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. We must discuss something involving Jaron Boots Ennis because a question came up with involving Jaron, and Bomac has some interesting things to say. Obviously, he is moving past Canelo Alvarez. We'll get to that as well. He stated how everybody knows they're going to beat Canelo Alvarez, but this is what he stated on Jaron Ennis, and this is pretty crazy and highlightable. Make sure you subscribe to Flight Sports for more boxing news, updates, and more. He says, no, he doesn't bring nothing to the table. He got our leftovers. This is what Bomac said. He says on the thoughts between the IBF welterweight champion Jaron Boots Ennis and Crawford. He says, why would Bud want to go backwards? Bud is looking for bigger and better fights so he can etch his name in the concrete forever. So it's very interesting to see how they are just acting like he doesn't exist. We must break it all down. If you've been living under a rock, Jaron Ennis is 31-0, no losses, no draws, 28 wins by the way of knockout. I got my man Phonics in the house with me. Phonics, what's your thoughts on this news in this boxing landscape? Because it's getting crazy.
It was good, man. Yo, look, it's like this. Jaron Boots Ennis is like what, 23, something like that, 24. Bud Crawford is like 35, man. Yo, all they focusing on at this point, Bud Crawford's camp is the bag, man. And Boots Ennis does not bring the bag. The only way that he's going to solidify the bag, Crawford, is him and Spence running back. He knows that. You know what I'm saying? Ennis, yeah, he's hungry. He want to take down a big dog. But I seen Ennis last fight, and I wasn't really that. I don't know. I wasn't that impressed, man. So I mean, it sounds all good, but yeah, they all on the bigger and better things. Bud Crawford's at the end of his career. Let's just be real. The money these dudes make, you know what I'm saying? Bud Crawford will not be fighting in his 40s, man. He doesn't have to. We can realistically say if he beats Spence again, he'll probably retire. What else does he have to prove? He's already the first unified in the three belt era. He has nothing else to prove. And he's 35 years old, 30, probably 36 by the time he fights Spence, or 37. It's a wrap. And yo, he wants to go out, ten toes down as the champion, and I respect that. So why even one risk it with this young up and coming? Yo, look, rest in peace to Apollo Creed, man. This ain't Rocky though. You know what I'm saying? Apollo gave Rocky the shot, little no name dude. Yo, Spence ain't doing it, man. He ain't doing it.
You're right about that. What is it? The whole landscape stand for Jaron Ennis. You brought up his last fight where he took down Villa. Some people might have felt that it went a little too long. He could have dismantled him a little earlier. But I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. What's really next for him? Because it seems like he can't get that big fight that he wants. It seems like the names are just acting like he don't exist. So what's going on with Boots?
Boo's got to keep fighting, man. You know what I'm saying? Fight Frank Martin or somebody. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he got to keep fighting, man. You know what I'm saying? Those fights will eventually come because they'll be mandated by whatever boxing council they're fighting under. So that's what they're gonna have to do. That's his only choice. You know what I'm saying? Because dudes is looking for the bag, man, and you're not gonna get Crawford to bite on that. I'm telling you now, listeners, hear me out. He is only gonna fight Spence. That's his next fight. That is gonna be a lot of money involved. And depending on if he win or not, which I'm sure he will win, that's gonna be it for his career, and probably Spence's too. But that's gonna be it. And then Boots, after he retires and all his belts, he can give up all his belts, it'll be up to Boots to go get him. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense financially for him to even take the fight against Bruce Ennis. Of course, it makes sense to Bruce Ennis camp because they're trying to come up, and Crawford is to come up. So come on now.
Right. How do you see a fight? Because it seemed like they moving on. Because I'm reading more quotes from Bomac. Bomac was talking crazy. He says, "I don't know. I really look at none of these welterweights since we cleared the division out. I'm done." What do you? How do you feel about his stance on them clearing the division? I mean, one might argue that he's telling the truth. What do you think about how Bomac is poking his chest out, speaking this boisterous?
Bomac's a trainer, and he's free to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's a free country, so you can say whatever you want to say. But he's partially right about that. But again, as I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense financially for Crawford to fight this young man. You know what I'm saying? And Bruce has a lot of fights on his belt. 31, that ain't nothing to sneeze at. You know what I'm saying? That is nothing to sneeze at. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense, man, money wise. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we
And
hear about. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I wouldn't bring up Canelo Alvarez because it seems like they have their eyes set on Canelo. When it seems like Spence is not going to be available. What do you? How do you see a situation going between Bud and Canelo? Because is that truly the biggest fight to be made in boxing? What do you think?
Yo, look, man, I'm sick of Canelo, man. I'm sick of dudes talking about Canelo, man. Like he is just this world beater. He's not, man. Canelo's been exposed. He's not that guy. And again, I don't even think that's a fight that Bud should take. Bud should wait on Spencer Hill and run it back. And I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
It just is. It's not going to go any other way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what Bomac is hyping up, but yeah, it's not going to go any other way.
right.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of big fights to be made in the sport. There's so many big ones. Obviously, we got Teofimo coming up. We got so many major fights. You got a lot of fighters that look up to Crawford. Obviously, people want to fight him, but they look up to Crawford. How important is Terence Bud Crawford to the sport of boxing, in your opinion?
Oh man, he's very important because he shows you that the little guy can pull it off, man. He's not braggadocious. He speaks very calmly. But yo, he swings a big stick. Pause. You know what I'm saying? And yo, when he get in that ring, he handles business. He's all business in that ring. And I like how he fights, man, because he's not popping all this smack. He just goes to work. You know what I'm saying? And we need more of that. Less talking and more fighting. I think we're seeing too much talking going around boxing nowadays. Too much talking, and there's not enough fights.
Yeah, the Twitter is definitely, well, you got to call it X now. It's definitely taking over. But I mean, we'll save it for another day. Shout out to my man Phonics. Make sure you hit the like button and most definitely hit the subscribe button. It's Flight Sports. We got an array of boxing content. We got major fights coming up. Subscribe to Flight Sports TV.